Alrighty guys, 2020 Ford F250 ball joints. We start by removing the hub block. 3 little Torx, T27. Then be real gentle when you're prying on it. It is plastic, high quality materials. Then I cover it up so it doesn't get any more debris or anything on it. And then there's going to be a snap ring in there. And let me tell you, this snap ring is solid, man. So you're going to need some beefy snap ring pliers. And then make sure you eat your Wheaties. Yep. There, once you get it to give a little pick, 90 degree, slide that baby out. And then here, I'm compressing the caliper so I could gain access to the bracket and everything. It'll be less heavy. And pretty much you got to remove the rotor, the hub, and the axle shaft completely out so you get the knuckle freed up enough. And right here I hold it up with some mechanics wire. I don't like to leave them hanging. Some people do, I don't. And then with a little bit more Wheaties power, get that baby to turn and then get the caliper bracket out. But yeah, we just gotta get to the knuckle. And remove the rotor. Once you get the rotor out of the way, I cleaned up the area where the wheel speed sensor goes. I like to clean it pretty good and then remove the speed sensor and put a painter's tape on there so no more debris gets into the tone wheel or in that crevice in there. It is an Allen. Sorry, I don't remember the size on that one. Could be an 8mm. And then I did bend the backing plate a little so I could get the sensor out. And then I'm unhooking everything from the knuckle, man. Just pretty much the knuckle should be free so you could gain full access to the ball joints. And then here you see me screw back in the little bolt. Oh, there's a tape. But I like to, if I take something that I'm going to reuse, I try to put it back where it goes just so I keep track of it. Makes it a lot easier. I mean, sometimes you take a lot of bolts and nuts out. Right there, we're going after those hub bolts. So now we got to gain access. So this is the back part of it. In the front, unfortunately, you got to remove the tie rods. I mean, you could probably work around it if you find an angle, but typically, I don't like to mess around that much with stuff like this. So getting it out of the way works for me. And in this case, I got really lucky. Typically, you fight these tie rods and drag links so much. But boom, look at that. I don't know how that happened, guys. I don't know. I got lucky. And then the upper one, oh man, I was super surprised when it just popped out. But yeah, no, this is another trick I use so I don't damage the threads. See, I still don't have access, but I put the nut back on the tie rod, especially if I'm about to bang it on the bottom, so it'll be flush. And I hit the, better surface area, and then I don't damage the threads as bad, and you could get it back out. But yeah, again, I don't know how I got lucky. Then I removed the sway bar link upper nut, and then just pry that whole thing up so I could have the knuckle free rolling like this, man, you know? And that way I gain access to those nuts. You get those nuts out, and then right here is where you want to pry. The back of the axle shaft. And then watch, you can see when the hub itself gives way. Right there. It cracked open. I saw that and I'm like, well, wiggle time. So, wiggling. Boom. And then with that big pry bar still that you put behind the axle shaft, you pry on it and try to get it to come up as much as you can, And then eventually what I did, I grabbed the shoulder pry bar. Once I had it like halfway, it does take some muscle, man. Or strength, I guess. But you get it right there nice, and then you just pry that baby out. Look at that. I mean, you could, in theory, reuse it like that. But since I'm at the dealership, I gotta going with new, new seals just for warranty purposes. Especially with seals. And then you loosen up all those. Oh, don't forget your vacuum line. Don't forget the vacuum line that's hooked up to the knuckle. And then once I get the nuts off, I put them back on. And then in this case, I had access to an air hammer, so I went ahead. The upper one, the shim should slide. Then the bottom one should just drop the whole knuckle down. Boom. And then right here, guys, be careful not to smash your fingers. And then penetrating oil. I know I probably didn't need it here, but I just like to be more cautious than not. Snap ring right there. The lower ball joint has a snap ring, and it's a procedure you gotta follow. Always replace both ball joints, highly recommended. But in this case, start with the lower one, so then you gain access to the top one. Just like that. And then when you're gonna go back in after cleaning it, I do recommend cleaning those things out. Start with the upper one, then do the lower one. That's the process, man. Lower one first to remove, then upper one to install. Upper one first, lower one last. Remember that, guys. And then there you go, that's the lower one. But yeah, once you get it, then snap ring back on. Make sure it's fully seated. Nice. And there you go, man. That's the ball joints. And then to go back in reverse order. Oh, here I'll show you. Have your nuts ready, man. Always have your nuts ready. Take a deep breath and then pick that baby up and make sure it's clean. Then boom, straight up, and then with your strong hand you hold it up, and actually that was my weak hand, but my other hand's faster to start the nut. There we go. And then I just snug them up because it's a process too to torque them on. If you don't torque these correctly or you over torque them, you're gonna experience what I call more of a wandering when you're driving. You can't keep the steering wheel exactly center all the time. So make sure you follow the torquing. So right here, the bottom one 44 first, upper one 69 foot-pounds, and then back to the lower one to 150 foot-pounds. So always, guys, make sure they're torqued correctly, not too tight. Just the right torque spec. Here you go. You see me did the bottom one, then the upper one, and then I go back to the bottom one. But yeah, you guys don't want that wandering. It's just never gonna feel right if you over torque them. So yeah, make sure that that procedure is followed. And then just go back with your cotter pins and everything. Straightforward. See, it's a little, but it's a little tight, but it still moves nice. And then clean up your hub area, and then again I have to remove the old seal, install a new one. But with a little persuasion or persuasion tools, you could get this kind of stuff done. And then always clean it up right there. I'll clean it up, and always lube your shaft before going in. See, cleaned up and tons of grease on my shaft. You don't want to go in dry. Then that's your seal driver and a hammer. Boom, gets that in. You put in your hub. Make sure you change the O-ring. Again, seals and O-rings. This O-ring, I've seen it where it gets all chewed up sometimes. You get that on. Then reverse order with your brakes. Straightforward, guys. I mean, I really hope this helps you, man. Gets you out there. Yeah, you have any comments or any questions, just let me know. And like always, I'll catch you in the next one.